Hello, good evening. Welcome back to another episode of Shooting the Shit, a Tottenham talk show with me, leader Dorset Spur. I am today with my good friends from Essex. I'm just going to add another one in, is Mason. Alex can't be with us yet because he's too busy doing his daughter's football team, so we're going to give him a pass for tonight. We had to change from Tuesday to Monday because of my work commitments. So apologies for that. Anyone who's been caught out by it, I'm really sorry about that. But it can't be helped. But listen, we're all living in a Spursy wonderland after a fantastic result against Manchester City at the Etihad. What can we say about that? Anyway, listen, I'm here today. I've got my good friend Dean. How you doing, Dean? You all right, buddy?
Yes, mate. Really, really well. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm buzzing. I'm really, really happy. Oh, Mason's turned up. Hello, Mace. You all right, buddy?
Hello. So the amount of problems I've had with this bloody webcam. So I'm all good, Lee. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. See, now that's why I say if you get there 15 minutes early, we can sort all those teething problems out, can't we?
True. Very true.
And then leaving it till the last minute. Last minute Roddies, as you're known. All right, I am now going to add in a happy sweary Alex. No, he's gone again.
No, he's buggering off again.
He's in, he's out, he's all over the place. Listen, what a nightmare. Listen, right, let's just crack on with it, shall we? Let's just get right into it because there's loads and loads and loads to talk about. So I'm just going to start off with you, Dean. Did you see the scoreline coming?
Of course I did, Lee.
You
Never
lying
in doubt.
git.
Never in doubt. No, I didn't see that scoreline coming in. I mean, we said in the past that I thought we'd have a sneaky win, but because we do well up there, don't we? We do well against City, like all over. But yeah, I did not see that. Not especially in the first 13 odd minutes. I thought, oh no, here we go. Like he's going to sort of old Haaland's going to back a hat trick, but no. No, we played really, really, really well. As much as they're going to go, but you didn't have Rodri, we didn't have this, and we didn't have... Mate, we didn't have our first choice centre-back pairing at all. We didn't have our midfield at all. And our striker, he wasn't there either. So, swings and roundabouts, mate. But we played really well. But like you say, I didn't expect that 4-0.
No, I think
but didn't expect it.
Yeah, I think you said 2-1 actually in the last episode. Mason, what are you saying? Did you have any sneaking feeling that was going to happen? I'm pretty sure you said 2-2 or 2-1 yourself. You was a bit indecisive.
I said it could go, as I said, it can go either way, I reckon. But then again, you know what Spurs are like. We've managed to pull it off. But yeah, no one saw the 4-0 coming this way. No one did. But what a performance. But can I bring down the mood for 2 minutes? Have you seen what Spurs have just tweeted out?
No.
Right, brace yourselves. It's not good. We can confirm that Guillermo Vicario has today undergone surgery for the fracture of his right ankle. He will be assessed by our medical staff to determine when he can return to training. We're all behind you, Vicario. He's just had surgery on his ankle.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. What a nightmare.
Yep.
What a nightmare. I was just going to say that I know I've got him on my running order of things to talk about. And Vicario is in there. Let me just bring a happy sweary Alex in. Hello, Alex. You made it, mate.
At long last. Yeah, sorry. You all right? You well? Just running a bit late, training me girls that have led me to drink. But yeah, how are we all? You're well?
We were all well until Mason's just hit us with some terrible news that Vicario is now injured. It's kind of put me out of me. It's kind of put me out of my comfort zone because I was going to talk about Vicario. Vicario kept us in the game a number of times. Do we think he's improving? Was my question I was going to ask today. So that's really big. That's really bad news, right?
Yeah. I'll just in the chat just so you lot can have a look. But it's not looking good. Apparently he's going to be assessed, and it is surgery of his right ankle, which might take a while. But then again, it could be 3 weeks. It could be 2. You never know. You do never know.
A fracture.
It's a fracture. It's not. That's what I'm saying. It's a fracture.
I think when I fractured my ankle, I was in a cast for 6 weeks.
Oh dear. Okay, right, fair enough then.
So I can't. Oh, that's.
I wonder when did he pick that up then? Do we know?
End of the game, you saw him limping. I think Haaland done something to his
Well,
ankle.
I'm just watching the first. I bet that's the Haaland attempt because he saved it with his right foot. But what a game though! What
right at the beginning of the game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's beginning, yeah. But what a game though! What a game! Madders did brilliantly, didn't he? I was really happy for him.
So Nigel Fox says surgery means 2 months minimum.
Oh, well, going ahead with that, I reckon January then. Do you reckon January will get a keeper? If that's enough, because Fraser Forster, we're 1 injury away now from playing Brandon Austin. So I reckon that's going to be a top target now because Fraser's off at the end of the year anyway. I reckon we're going to get in another backup.
Well, that's Dean's mate. Can't you have a word, Dean? Get him on there.
Well, it don't bother me, mate. I mean, Austin's a very, very good keeper. He's gonna mess things about because obviously, no, I think they're all in there. They're all in the Europa League team, so that ain't a problem. And sometimes you get special dispensation if your first choice keeper's out. So we might be able to do something there. So I didn't. He looked all right. He was jumping about, and then all of a sudden he must have done something because he went down before, didn't he? In the game, he went over and he was on the floor, and he going, "No, I think I've done something." They should have took him off then. And but again, what he was doing so well, I don't think you wanted to come off.
I think that it was that Haaland thing, but it's quite funny how we've gone from one extreme to the other. Where a few months ago we're all holding our hands. Oh, Vicario, what's he doing? Yeah. So he's not playing, and we're all devastated.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was going to say in the thing, I thought he had a really good game, and I feel like he's working on stuff that he's kind of being called out for. I mean, I see the one with Villa where he was kind of fighting and all the rest of it, and kind of being I feel in this game he was a lot more commanding, coming out and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's a bit devastating, really. One we're kind of going to have to think about whether. Forster, he's obviously Europa. He's done all right in that, but Premier League, that could be a bit of a difficult one. And with regards to the sort of third choice and all the rest of it, we've never seen them play, not regular. So what that looks like, I don't know. So it looks like we're probably going to have to do something in January. Now I do have to address this comment that's been put in the chat, right? So I'm gonna say it now. I'm gonna make this point very, very clear. This T-shirt is cerise.
No, it's not. It's red.
It's cerise.
Listen,
literally, it's a cerise T-shirt. You lot need to get your eyes. You lot need to get your eyes.
No, we need to come down and sort your wardrobe out. That's what we need to do because you're wearing claret and blue one weekend, you're wearing red on another. I think you're just sitting on the fence, mate.
Well, after this, I'm going to post a photo of me in this T-shirt, right? So you can see the actual colours. Because this is a cerise T-shirt. I bought it specifically from the fake market in Kuala Lumpur. That's where this come from, and I wouldn't wear a red one. Right?
Not Gouda Lane.
I did come home with a red one, but I actually gave that to my son-in-law Ian, who will be able to confirm that. So I'm just addressing this now. This is not red; it's cerise, and I'm not going to answer any more about it anyway.
Gonna need to check on that.
Yesterday, my missus nearly bought me a tracksuit from a place in Basden, sells all the Sergio stuff and all that. Really nice. Bloke was really doing a sale, right? Trying to sell it to us. He went, looks really good on you. I went, thank you very much, but it's got claret and blue on it, so I'm not wearing it. And he went, oh, what do you mean? I went, I'm not wearing something that's claret and blue. You would have looked good in it with your trainers, Lee. But no. Dean's got nothing red, have you, Dean?
Nothing.
From pants to socks to tops.
Nothing.
Neither have I.
Nothing.
Neither have I.
Well, you're wearing it. You're wearing it. Look,
cerise, mate.
Take it off. Take it off.
You definitely don't want to see that. Okay. Let's get back to it. Let's talk about something that's interesting for people. I'm sure they're not really bothered about my wardrobe. Mason, let me come to you. When you was looking at that bench before the game, was you a little bit worried?
A little bit. I must admit, I was. But then again, the main issue with the 11 and the bench was the fact due to a lack of like centre back presence, wasn't it? Because other than that, I thought we was pretty solid. I mean, no one's. I refuse to believe that there were people before the game who were going to sit there and say, I feel confident with the Davies Dragons in back line. You might say, fair enough, they might not do as bad today, but I don't think anyone was going to think they were going to do what they done at that game. I thought they are solid players, but I did not think we would keep a clean sheet and a 4-0 win away to City.
No, I mean, I must admit, I looked at the bench and I thought, who's that? Who's that? And who's that? When I was looking at the bench and I'm thinking, oh, that don't seem too good. And I was listening to Chris Cowley who put something out about who they were. I was like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense. Because one of them was a centre back. So you think, well, okay, you got a centre back, but I think he was like 16, 17 or something.
Yeah, 16.
And then you got another one for the midfield who was 17. I'm thinking, great for them, right? I mean, it's brilliant to see him bring players into the mix, into the fold, make them feel part of it, make them to see where they're going. But it was just a bit worrying, wasn't it? And then, like you say, the first sort of 15 minutes of that game, my starfish was kind of going a little bit like that. I've got to be honest. So
starfish.
Dean, let me ask you. Let me ask you this question, right?
Yeah.
Having seen that result, right? How do you now feel about the Ipswich result? Does it make you feel better, the fact that we've come back from it and smashed City and all the rest of it, or does it make you feel worse knowing what could have been?
Oh no, worse. I'm sorry, it's worse because if they can play like that, and it's pretty much a very, very similar team, why couldn't we have played like that in the first place? But again, I'm not taking anything away from Ipswich because they were playing well, and you see what they've done to United. So yeah, they're not a bad team. It's been a couple of dodgy results for them, close results where they should have won, but they're in the Premier just because of the talent they've got. So I don't understand why we stepped off the gas, right, and let them play. But like we said before the international break, 5 times now. The game before we've lost. So there's something there that they don't want to get injured, whereas their players were up for it and thought they'd get a result, and they did. They played better than us. They wanted it better than us. So but it don't. You think back of the Palace, Brighton, and this one, they'd be talking about us now, title contenders, right? We're not. Don't get me wrong, we're not. But those 3 results go our way, and that we should have won them. Then things would have been so different. But we're still only a few points off anyway. So I mean, we ain't going to get anywhere near Liverpool unless they start dropping points. But we're up there. We're up there for the for the 4 places.
Yeah, I think like you say, the reason I put that in there was just being a little bit. What's the new term they're all using now? Playful. Being a little bit playful about it. Because that is just so frustrating, isn't it? I mean, I'll put this in there, a Spursy wonderland. But I mean, that's where we are, right? I mean, you lose against Ipswich, and we can talk about, and we have talked about how we played against them and all the rest of it. But to then go off and beat, Man City, and everyone will go, oh, they're having a bad time and blah blah blah. They got some players out. Well, we've got players out. We've got players suspended and all this. The depth of our squad is nowhere near what they've got, right? Nobody else has gone to Manchester City Stadium and smashed them in the way that we did. No one's done it. Arsenal went up there and was celebrating a draw, right? Yeah. So let's get real about it. You've got to take that result wherever you can get it. But it is really, really frustrating about that result against Ipswich, against Palace and stuff. And then you look at all the other games and you think to yourself, well, if we'd have held on against Leicester, that just, old Vardy getting in there, the Newcastle result was a disappointing one. The Brighton one is still probably the worst one for me. But like you say, if we'd have won all them, we'd have been right up there. We'd have been right up there in the same way that we were last season. You just need that little bit to go in your direction, and to give you that. So yeah, I was massively, massively disappointed with it and frustrated by it. But what it does do is it does give you faith that, oh, well, maybe we are going in the right direction. Alex, let me bring you in, right? Maddison, 2 goals, really, really good performance from him on the day. Did you think that maybe he's just playing because he had a point to prove, or is that just Maddison hitting form at a good time?
Well, it was his birthday, wasn't it? So he was in a good mood anyway. He probably got his leg over in the morning, so he's really happy. I just think he was just enjoying the game. He's just enjoying his day. Was he making a point? I think he has to make a point every time he plays. You know, but what a goal! First goal, great from Kulusevski, and then the second goal was Son. They're just in. It just looked like they was in whatever they're doing on a training ground. They're enjoying it. They're enjoying each other's company. You know, they want to make opportunities for each other. But yeah, I think he was just enjoying his day. And I mean, just watching the Kulusevski pass now, you know, he's running his legs off, and it's just bosh, one touch, and it's in. Yeah. You know, and he's over the moon with it, and so is everyone else. And then even the second goal with Son, they're both celebrating it. You know, so it looks like they're enjoying. He's just enjoying his football at the moment, and he's enjoying the company that he's playing with. But yeah, just like the second goal, because he said on the telly he was going to run on the inside before he'd make a change and run on the outside. And so Son is obviously, you know, he's probably done that move with Son on the training ground, you know, and they're both over the moon to celebrate it. So was he showing off? Probably, because it was his birthday. Does he have to make a statement? I think I've said before, I think the way the team's going, you've got to make a statement every time you're playing. Otherwise, he's going to drop you. So, you know, I think the way that the team's going at the moment, I think they played really well yesterday. I think he's... if he can keep it up on Thursday, then yes, I think, you know, he's enjoying his football. But if he lets us down on Thursday, then I don't know what's going on. How's that for sitting on the fence?
No, I think it's right. I like the idea of having a point to prove, if I'm being honest. I don't like the idea that players are automatic shoo-in. I know we all got players
exactly.
You know, they're really the ones that, and they're really doing the business and all the rest of it. But someone like Maddison, who has been questioned of late, but there is no doubt in his quality. He's an absolute quality player, right? And that first goal, how he took that first goal, I mean, Kulu, unbelievable cross. But for him to take that on the volley and just smash it in, and I thought was great. The second one I thought was even better. And the reason why I say that is because he picked it up and he kind of directed it, and he was telling them where he wanted them to go. And the reverse ball from Son, I'm looking at it and I'm thinking he's going to go on the inside, right? And he went on the outside, thinking he was making space for Son to have a go. But the reverse ball was absolute quality. So I think it's good.
I think it's something they've probably done on the training ground, though, isn't it? Because it was such a great technique. It was just, it's not as if they haven't done that before, sort of thing. You know, they must have practiced that, because it was such a smooth movement, sort of thing. And it was a great goal. Both of the goals were really choreographed well, you know. So yeah, I think if he keeps it up, then yeah, he's definitely making the statement that he deserves a place in the team and shouldn't be benched. So
yeah, but I think the fact that we can bench him, I think it's important. Mason, just going to come to you. Kulu went out on the right this time. We've all seen how well he's been playing in the middle, you know, basically running games and all the rest of it. So I was a bit surprised with him going out to the right-hand side, especially with Maddison coming in. So
it's a red shirt.
Did kind of think that he was a bit of a luxury at times, Maddison. Totally different what actually happened. But how did you feel about Kulu being out on the right-hand side?
I mean, when you watch the game back, when you were watching it, I don't think he played more out wide. I thought he kind of played as an inverted, say, box-to-box midfielder. I thought he kind of exploited those outside spaces, but he kind of still utilised the middle, if you know what I'm trying to say. He kind of stayed in the middle as it was, but did come out wide when we was attacking. His pressing work in the middle was relentless. I mean, it led to the second goal. So I'd like to think that he's kind of mastered both arts of centre mid to the right wing, as I should say. But I think we can start seeing that a lot more from him because he is very familiar in both areas. So, but going forward, I would like to see him be more directly involved in the middle, but also utilise that right wing space as he did against City because it looked like he was playing his own game. He was. I know Maddison got both goals, but for me, he was the man of the match. He was pulling the strings. He was constantly. He was relentless. He was making chances. He was defending. He was everywhere. And I thought he was honestly a man of the match that game.
Even the third goal, he was involved.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unselfish playment. He was unselfish. He was just creating everything that he could. So yeah, man of the match for me, definitely.
Dean, what did you make of him going out wide? He did that assist for Maddison as well. That in the first goal. What did you make of his performance out on the wide right?
Well, when you think, I mean, that's where he plays a lot, isn't it? We see him. He's either out there on the wing or he's playing over the number 8 or sort of the number 9 or the number 10. He can play bloody anywhere. I think this season he'll get our player of the year, player of the year, the player of the season. I think he will. But people are starting to talk about him now. Because I think if he was playing for City, they go, Kulu. But because he plays for Spurs, he don't get the respect he deserves. And he should do. He's an absolute brilliant player. He don't stop running. He never stops smiling. I think he's top drawer. Really, really is. I mean, I must admit, hand on heart, I hadn't heard about him before he joined us. And I most people who watch football wouldn't have heard of Kulusevski. They just wouldn't. But he's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I agree with you. I think he will be our player of the season if he carries on with this form that he's playing in. I think he'll definitely be right up there. I mean, he didn't get man of the match. Maddison got man of the match, I believe. But scoring 2 goals is generally going to lead to that, I guess. But for me, there was some stuff shared in our WhatsApp group today. I think showing him, and saying he's like the new Moussa Dembele. Only because he just doesn't get shaken off the ball. He doesn't get pushed off the ball, whatever. And there were some clips of him kind of putting a ball through someone's legs and turning and holding them off and all the rest of it. You think to yourself, he is some player. And it's crazy to think that we kind of picked him up along with Bentancur for, what is it, 70 million or something like that. I mean, he's got to be worth 70 million on his own, surely.
Yeah, easy that now.
No, for me, I think he's a brilliant player.
Like Alex was saying, that third goal, that was, like I say again, that was down to him, and he was over sort of middle left, so he's all over the pitch. Really is all over the pitch. And that layoff, when he flicked it from the outside of the boot to Sonny, and then Sonny just went one touch straight back into his path. That's cracking. Absolutely cracking. I thought to be honest, I thought he'd overhit the pass to Solanke. But Solanke just seemed to go, no, that's gone. He just put the burners on straight over, put it back to Porro. How many times we've seen Porro just smash it in the back of it? I love him. I do love. He's another one. They're all playing with their heart on the sleeve at the moment. And I know I'm tracking back a little bit to what you're talking about, Maddison. He was benched before, wasn't he? And he come out and he was like man of the match. So sometimes they have to sort of like be benched just to either let them have a breather or say, well, no, you've got to show me. Show me that you can play, that I'm your value for that place in our team. And he does. He is cracking.
Yeah, no, I absolutely love him. I think he's a fantastic player. I know I've talked about it before that there is a podcast that I listen to in the car. I'm pretty sure it was on this show called The Lab, and they were talking about. I'm pretty sure it was on there, but it might have been a different podcast. But they were talking about Kulusevski in the fact that he literally they can't place him in terms of where he's most effective. One player that they said the emphasis of it was a player you can pick out 2 places where they are really effective, like a good right hand side, they pick up the ball there and they have their most impact from that position, or from deep they'll have their most. With Kulusevski, he's basically, I think they said he got something like 5 hot spots of where he is most effective. And it can be from the left, from the right, from the centre, from deep and up front. It was like literally he didn't have any flaws in terms of the impact that he can have on a game. He can kind of go from anywhere. And this guy who's doing this analysis is one of these guys. He does all that sort of thing. That's what he does. He does all that analysis about how good a player is and where they're most effective and all the rest of it. And and that's who it was. So if you get a chance, anyone, if you get a chance, have a look at the Lab as a podcast. It's a really, really good one. It's by the guys that do the Fighting Cock. It may have even been in the Fighting Cock. I don't know, but yeah, if you don't listen to it, it's a really good one. Mason, let me come back to you. How important, though, in all of this, we're talking about all our attacking prowess, but how important was that clean sheet?
Clean sheet was very important. It was all for the confidence of the players. Like, we have been leaking goals. Like, you can't deny it. We've been leaking goals, going behind. Just it dragged our players' morale. Even Romero, when we lost to Ipswich, obviously he's going to be down anyway. But it's the way of the manner that how he conceded those goals. Wasn't very happy. So to go away to City and keep a clean sheet with centre backs who arguably aren't our best options, to do that will do wonders for their confidence going forward now. I mean, even just to say Vicario as well. Vicario put in a great shift, proper performance. I thought he was, if not Kulu, he would also be one of the man of the matches. I thought he was unreal that game. But it's just a shame that he's now, injured and we can't see that again for another few months, which is quite sad.
Yeah, for me, the first 15 minutes where we was really under pressure, could have been 3-0 down, right? Early on in that game, he kept us in the game, Vicario, and that kind of led to. I think if we'd have gone behind, that would have worried me. The fact that we didn't concede so quickly and got those first 2 goals really set us up, I think, and I think they were then chasing the game. Anyway, so Dean, talk to me about Romero and Van der Ven being missing and us having Dragushin and Davis. What was their performance? How did you like that?
As funny as it sounds, I preferred it, right? Because I like Dragushin. He was good where he is. Plus, he was quick to put the ball up the field. Whereas you watch Romero, he gets the ball. I'll give it back to if Van der Ven's in, I'll put it across to Van der Ven. I'll stick up to Bentancur. I'll get the ball back. I'll stick it over to Vicario. I'll get the ball back, and it's backwards and forwards. Whereas both of them, straight away, they was looking forward, right? And they was obviously they weren't as far forward as Romero would tend to go, or whereas Van der Ven would go. So we didn't have to drop as deep. And I mean, I've said it before many a time. Ben Davis, he's just absolutely brilliant. He's reliable, dependable. All them names you can sort of put on him, he is. I mean, how many? When was it? When did we sign him? Was it just 10 years? 2014. So Poch, yeah. So all them managers we've had since him have all kept him in their squad. Not one of them's gone, no, I'll move him on, I'll move him on. None of them have moved him on. So 10 years, mate. So he's got to be decent, hasn't he? And he was. I mean, he may be getting slower now, but he was everywhere where that ball was going to be, apart from once when he was caught up the field a little bit. But yeah, I like the way we played. We weren't relying on Van der Ven's pace to get back, so we weren't as far up the pitch. And we got the ball out to our midfield or out to like down the wing, like a lot quicker. I think was it Dragoshin that put the ball out to Kulusevski? Wasn't it?
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I was going to mention that. That was initially you could kind of go, oh, it was a hoof out, but it wasn't. He played that ball on purpose into that space. Fortunately, it came off the back of the City defender's heels and gave Kulu the opportunity. And when he's got the strength that he's got, but he still had loads to do. But yeah, I mean, it was a great ball break by Dragushin. You can't take that away from him. I agree with you as well about Ben Davis. He gets so much stick. The amount of times I've seen him put in the same bracket as inverted commas Deadwood. I hate hearing that about someone who's a player for Tottenham. You know, these guys have achieved something some of us can only dream of. So to be called Deadwood is really disappointing. And I say Ben Davies plays for Wales. He's the captain of Wales and all the rest of it. He must have something about him for, like you say, all these managers to still want him in the squad, in their teams.
Yeah, like him a lot. Got so much time for him. When he gets pulled off, or when they put him on, he don't sit there. He don't moan. He don't mope and not throw his shirt down. And we've seen plenty of players do that. He don't. He's he is Mr. Reliable without a shadow of a doubt. But he's better than that. Like you say, he's their captain. Like Kulu, captain of Sweden, isn't he? Is that right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So we've got leaders really all over the pitch. And I think that game just showed how well we were playing. I just wish that we could get these tags off us, like the Spursy tag or Dr. Tottenham and all that, and start playing how we should play. We know how they can play. But yeah, so I have them as a centre-back pair. Brilliant. Really did. I like the way we was on the front foot, bam, straight up the pitch. And that's why we played the way we did. Yeah. And I don't think they made any mistakes, really. Jagerson was playing really, really well. Davis was didn't let any of them have a go. He's absolutely so good.
I think we did make a few mistakes, but we rectified them very quickly. I've just been watching it now with Haaland had another pop at goal. We did a short pass, didn't get to its intended target, but we recovered well. So I think mistakes were made, but
what about this comment here I got from Nigel? Bissouma booked on 15 seconds, and his performance gone under the radar. Managed to get through the game without a faultless performance. Alex, what do you think of Bissouma? Like, was your starfish going at 15 seconds when he got booked straight away?
I'm not telling anything about my starfish. I think it's a bit personal, to be honest with you. But I think he's just overexcited. He had to slow down. I don't think he was I suppose it was a card, but no, I mean, any game, the first sort of 60 seconds, 120 seconds, it's a bit fast paced, isn't it? Really, everyone's going to start settling down. But I think he did all right.
Is that time to give a card, though? When it starts off like that, is it time to give a card, or is it time to say to someone, look, with 15 seconds in, you're going a bit mental here, son?
You're right.
Give him a bit of a chance. I don't know.
Or is it the ref setting the bar, saying I'm not putting up with anything today?
Yeah, maybe.
Wind your neck in, sort of thing. But I suppose it could be 50, 50-50 of whatever it's going to be, sort of thing.
But what was refs have got. How did you think he played for the game?
I can't remember what I did yesterday, but no, looking at the videos, I reckon he's just trying to play his best, isn't he? Everybody wants a position in the team, so again, he's just trying to play his best. But I think he was again here, there, and everywhere, trying to get involved, and being a part of the team. So I think he played well.
He's going to be in for a while, isn't he? Right, because Benton.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's going to be taking his position.
I put this one up before. I meant to talk about this one afterwards. But Romero should be looking to fight for his place now. What do you think? What do you think of that? Do you think that's a fair comment?
Yeah, I do. I do, because he's been pulling out a lot of challenges, and like we said before, every time there's something coming up, he doesn't play 100%, whereas Dragusin does. Sometimes Dragusin plays 110%, and then gets us in all sorts of trouble. But yeah, the way he was playing, I like it. I like him being on the front foot. I like, and he's only young, remember, Dragusin. He's 22? Is he 21, 22? Something like that?
21.
Yeah.
21.
So to have Ben Davies on his left with all that experience and going, right, you need to be there, you need to be this, you need to be doing this. It can only be good for him. It really can. I don't know how long Romero's out for. You could put him in for the Roma game, but yeah, I don't think Dragusin done anything wrong at all. And I liked him all being on the front foot. So long may it continue.
But again, though, I mean, like the bar has been set in the team, hasn't it? As we said before. So everyone's, got to put a shift in to stay into the squad. So when Romero comes back, he's got to put a shift in to get back to where he was.
Mm.
Yeah, and it comes back to that point about having something to prove. A point to prove. You can't just walk into the team and be, that's it. I'm here. I deserve to play. That's not really what we want. We want players to be fighting for their position, to be showing what they're capable of, so that we get the best out of them, right?
Do you think that's what he said, though? Do you think that's what he said to the players? I don't care how good you think you are. You've got to show me, and if I don't think you're good enough, you ain't playing. And so
I think that's the right thing to do, though, right? I think there's too much. Sometimes there's too much trying not to hurt someone's feelings. You've got to be. I always used to say, as a manager, not in football, right? But as a manager of people, I always used to say to people, if you don't want to know the answer, don't ask the question, right? So if you're concerned about your position, or whether whether you want to know whether you feel that you're doing the best you can do, if they're going to ask me the question, I'm going to tell them the truth. I'm going to say, no, you're not playing very well, or you're not doing very well, or whatever, because you owe it to that person. Because if you just give people carte blanche, oh yeah, no, you're all right, mate. It's all good, all the rest of it. But then secretly you're thinking, you're not really getting the best out of you. Or they're saying you're opening yourself up to allow for mediocrity, and you can't do that, especially at the highest level. In sport, for sure, he owes it to them to be honest. In my view, I mean, I don't know. I just don't like the idea of pandering to people just because we live in a time where people get their feelings hurt.
Yeah, but
it's self-development,
right? If you're the employee asking the employer the question, you already know the answer, don't you? Yeah. Right? If you've got to go and ask them, you know you're not sort of 100%. But yeah, I mean, it can only be a good thing. It really can. I think if we've got competition for places, that can only benefit, Spurs. It can, same as anything. You look at Grealish, £100 million. Yeah, sits on the bench, comes off. Right, that pass, that was Grealish's fault. I think it went. I think he meant it for a kanji, or he saw somebody else on, like in a shirt in the ground or something, because that went wanging past him. McCangy went, well, where's that going? And Werner picked it up and run with it. So £100 million. All right, it's a nice price tag, but if you're still not playing well, then you're not playing well. You sit on the bench.
Mason, just to bring you back into the conversation, one of the things I kind of picked up, I kind of looked at it and thought about it. The scoreline says 4-0, really dominant performance and all the rest of it. But I didn't think City were that bad, were they? I thought they played some good football, City. And like I say, on another day, if Haaland's putting them in the back of the net, we could have been 3-0 down at the start of the game. So what did you think of City's performance overall, apart from obviously, losing a game, but in terms of their overall play and so on?
If you ask me, I think it comes down to one player, and it's a certain man who's just won the Ballon d'Or. He wasn't there, was he? He was injured. So I think it comes down to that they are a one-man team. In my personal opinion, I've got Haaland, you've got De Bruyne, they are top players. But every single season when Rodri's out, or Rodri's been dropped, they don't win. He's the key to their 11. So I think if Rodri was in that team, because City didn't play bad at all, but if Rodri was in that team, 100% they would have played completely different. They wouldn't be leaking the chances they had. He'd be holding up the ball. They'd be a lot more defensively sound. I just thought that they needed that extra presence, being the Ballon d'Or winner, Rodri. I thought they were clearly missing that kind of key, that last piece of the puzzle for that game.
What just worries me is that, when Pep Guardiola said, the Harry Kane team, and the amount of times we've beaten without Harry Kane is quite funny, really, showing that we're not a team. For them to just fall apart through one player, when you consider how much that squad is worth and the quality that they've got there, they can't just rely on one player, right? There's got to They've got to be better than that. And
well, that's the thing they do. That's the problem that they have, is that as soon as Rodri's out, or Rodri's been dropped because of poor form or whatever, which they shouldn't do anyway, because he is probably one of the best players in the league. As soon as he's out the squad or he's out the game, they don't play well. And if they need to win, and he's not starting, they'll bring him on and they win. It's 5 games in a row now that they haven't won, which is unheard of for Pep. I think he's second to that was his record, which was he's only ever lost 4 games in a row, and that was at Bayern Munich. So, and this is now the worst stint he's ever had in his managerial career, which is insane, absolutely insane. But there's no coincidence that City always turn their brain on in the second half of the season when it's clutch time. They've got to win every game. Rodri's back, De Bruyne's back. Because it's the same with last season. I remember watching when Burnley got promoted, and Pep was saying De Bruyne's going to do this, De Bruyne's going to do that. They won 3-0 anyway that game, but De Bruyne was injured up until February that year, and that's when the squad kind of clicked and come back. It's as soon as one of those midfielders are out, the squad falls apart. But 9 times out of 10, it's Rodri that falls out because of the amount of defensive work he does. So it's just they play very well. Going back to the question, they play very well, but it does seem to me at the moment that Pep needs to figure out a way how to dominate their style of play and dominate chances and keep pressure on the ball and not concede chances without Rodri. Because, not being funny, they have another DM, a £70 million DM, and he's playing at Ipswich and he can't get a few minutes. That's Calvin Phillips. They signed Mateus Nunes. I don't see him playing every day, every week in, week out. He's not defensively sound. De Bruyne's not defensively sound. Bernardo Silva isn't. Gundogan's come back on a free transfer to City, and even he's not defensively sound. It is they have got one defensive midfielder, and he's gone, and everything falls apart.
I guess the interesting thing about this, right, and the reason why I kind of asked the question or posed about it, is that I don't feel like we're getting the credit we deserve for beating them, right? Because of the quality of the players they've got in there and all the rest of it. And I've heard it called out on various channels and stuff like that. They haven't got, Rodri or whatever. That one player shouldn't make that much of a difference, right? And we've got so many players out ourselves and all the rest of it. I think this is a great comment. I'm going to put it up here, right? I thought Man City played 3 over 50-year-old ringers. I could have run past Walker, and I'm 70 years old with one artificial knee, and waiting for another one. I don't know. That might be a little bit over the top, David. I don't think you'd be able to beat Kyle Walker in a.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting our flowers. I'll tell you that, because then again, TalkSport fella on there, Rory Jennings, probably all heard of him. 9 times out of 10, I don't like listening to what he has to say. But he said last night on his little show, he said that this could be our biggest win in the Premier League era, because going back to it, when have we ever gone to the Champions and dominated 4-0? Like, without take away context at all, for a scoreline and the team we're playing in the era we're in, is that our biggest win? And I kind of agree. It might have to be our biggest win. Don't get me wrong. Like, obviously Wigan 9-0 and stuff like that. But in terms of importance, that was insane. Or Arsenal 3-0 in a few years ago back then.
It's funny, right? It's funny you say that Rory Jennings, right? Because I've literally, Jason sent me a video of 4 Arsenal YouTubers. Lee Judges is one of them, and the Turkish fella, and a couple of others who I've got no idea who they are. But they were actually, there was a guy in there, and he was actually making the same point. So whether he's heard Rory Jennings talk about it or whether Rory Jennings has heard him talk about it, but he actually made that same point. I thought it was a really interesting conversation about, in terms of the importance of a game and how well a team played and how we dominated that game. I'm not sure whether that is one of the best that we've put in, but of course, it means nothing if you don't beat Ipswich at the same time. Dean, exactly. I'm going to bring you back in. I'm going to bring you back into it, because I'm going to ask you about your mate, Timo Werner assist. How satisfying was that to see?
I do like him, and he's always running. Yeah, he don't let it get him down. It was a cracking assist. Yeah, it was against Kyle Walker. I mean, Kyle Walker and Adama Traore the other day, mate. That was a foot race. And Werner's only just come on the pitch, right? He was gone, mate. There was no way Walker was catching him. But it weren't like Walker had a lot to do all game. It really weren't, apart from sort of like looking at his feet because there's another goal's gone in the net. Oh, sad. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, I mean, that was a cracking run, right? He just put his head down and ran. If you watch him, he doesn't even look. Doesn't even look what's coming to the right. He knows that Brennan's running on the right. He didn't look who's going to be in the middle. He just put it where it's supposed to be. And he does that game after game after game, right? The sad thing is, when he done it and he sort of went on the deck, I don't know whether he's hurt himself. I hope not. We ain't heard nothing else yet. But he did go over to the fans and sort of be jumping about. They had to drag him over there. So whether it's, again, it's that thing that Johnson had, because he didn't, when he scored a couple, he didn't want to go over to the crowd because he thought, well, you're the one slagging me off. So why should I come over to you? But, it took a while for them to drag him over there. So hopefully, especially when there's talk of him going in January again, like punting him back out. You can't. We haven't got enough bloody players to do that anyway. But he does that, If you watched the last couple of minutes, he was over again on the left-hand side, or our left, shouting like, "Guys, me, pass it to me. Look at the amount of spacing. We could have 5." So that shows his mentality. He wants to score another goal. No, there's only a couple of minutes to go. We're 4-0 up.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have to say, he's done that. Since we've really been, and I've been a big critic of him, as you know, right? But over the last sort of few games, there's been touches in it where he's just done something, and you think there is a player in there like that. For me, one of the reasons we brought him in, everyone kept telling me how fast he was and all the rest of it, and how he can take players on. I've not seen him do it, and that's been really, really disappointing. So when I saw him do it against Kyle Walker, an aging Kyle Walker, I get it, right? A player that's already been on the pitch for however long and all that, I get it. But at the end of the day, he's always relied on his pace, Walker. And yet he kind of breezed past him like he wasn't even there. He put a brilliant ball across the box. Brennan Johnson, and fair play to Brennan Johnson as well, right? He took one look behind him, saw that he wasn't no one was on him, and he just ran. And he kind of, he's got to keep up, right? Because Werner's moving at some pace. He's got to get there, because if you don't get there, it's wasted, all that effort. So to go in at the back there and get a lovely little tap in, what's that, 8 goals now for Johnson? Johnson again, ole, as they say. I mean, that's just fantastic, right? It's exactly what you need from him.
Can I just jump on what Dean said a minute ago?
Yeah.
So Dean, you mentioned about how Werner passes the ball in and he knows Johnson's there.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago now, I think we were complaining about I think it was either the Brighton loss or the Arsenal loss, and we were sitting here and we were saying, why on earth are they doing that? No one's there. And that's the training they have. The training that they have is whip it in, go over. It's going to go through. You have to be there. If you're not there, that is your fault. Going back a few weeks ago, we were complaining because Werner and who else was it? I think it was back at
Johnson. We were talking about the Johnson ball where Johnson played it across and no one was there, and they were going, "What's he just putting that in there for? There's no one there. He should have pulled it back."
Exactly.
Well, actually, his job was to put it in for them to get there, like you're just saying.
Exactly. So going back, because even then weeks ago, the training videos were Ryan Mason was screaming at the top of his lungs saying, "Lads, doesn't matter if no one's there. They should be there. So put the ball in anyway." So it's a bit, when it comes to it, it's when you see Werner do it, it is just, and it's on point, the plan's working. But when it comes down to a few weeks ago, where we was all complaining, it's tactics, isn't it? Brighton have figured out a way to get Solanke away from that area. Same with Johnson. And even in the Arsenal game, I think Odegaard done the same thing. It's when it comes to, like when we had Conte, when Kane had 2 players on him, we wouldn't win a game. When Kane was just constantly being marked, we wouldn't win a game. And I think that's what they've started to realise with Ange, is that if you're marking the runner at the back stick and you're somehow holding up Solanke, even though he's a big lump, if somehow you're holding up Solanke, as soon as that one attacker puts the ball in, that's going nowhere. But I think against City, we've kind of figured that out with Kulu when he's pressing to get around that problem, if you know what I'm trying to say. But it seems to be, as soon as Solanke and Brennan Johnson, or vice versa, Werner and Solanke are phased out of the game and the balls are being passed in, then everything's all good. but it's just it comes down to the training, is what I'm trying to say.
Alex, just because Mason's touched on him there, Solanke. What did you think of his work rate in that game? I thought he had a really good game. Obviously, got an assist.
Yeah.
For the Porro goal. Could have had a second assist if Kulu had been able to. If he'd have been able to kind of put that one if it weren't for Edison saving it, the bastard. What did you think
again,
of him?
I think. Yeah, no, his work rate was. I mean, I wasn't his greatest fan in the beginning, but Mason's given me a few lectures about what he does and what he doesn't do, sort of thing. But his work rate was there. Again, he was playing. You could see he was playing for the team, unselfishly. If there was an opportunity to score or go, you give off the attitude that if there's a chance for someone to score, and obviously not himself, he would rather set someone up for them to bury it. So I think his work rate was there. He was trying here, there, and everywhere, mate. So yeah, no, long may he reign. In his position, playing that way. I think that overall on Sunday we played well as a team, as a whole team, and it's okay to say this one game was great. But if we can do the same again on Thursday or at the weekend, that's when we can all say yes, we're back, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But Solanke, I think he was playing for the team, wasn't playing for himself. He was getting in better positions and he was setting people up. So I think he did well.
I think as well what he does with him battling and dropping a bit deeper and stuff like that is giving that space to the runners, people like Johnson, people like Kulu, people like Werner or Son even, to be able to run a bit deeper, run beyond him and so on. I do really like that from him. Like I say, the one thing I've always loved about players, I love players who've got really good work rate. They might not be the best player, maybe, and I'm not saying Solanke isn't, but they might not be the best player. But if they're giving 100%, 110% all the time, and you can see they care and you can see they want it, that for me means so much, and that's what I love about it. Cheeky question, Dean. I'll start with you. Do you still feel that Ange has lost the dressing room?
Didn't seem that way. I'll tell you what was strange again. If you watched after the game, right? I think it was Madison. Madison sort of, I think, jumped at him like jumped on his back, and he looked so angry. And then went, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm happy now." Just weird. Just really, really strange. I don't think he's that sort of man manager. I don't think he's the one like I'll put an arm around you. Oh, what's going on at home? Talk about it. It's football, and that's football. If you're playing well, yeah, I love you, great. You're playing shit, I'm going to tell you your shit. That's how I think. That's how he is. He's not a cuddly. He's not Poch. But at the same time, I don't think Conte was like that, and I don't think Mourinho was like that.
No.
There's yourself as a man manager. There's different ways of managing different players and different ways of managing teams. So I think that's how he is. I mean, he said it right from the beginning. I'm not going to invite you around for dinner. I'm not that sort of person. My focus is pure and simply on what you're doing on the pitch.
You've always got to keep that line between leadership and employee or player or whatever you want to do. You've always got to keep that little bit, haven't you? You've got to, because at the end of the day, if you've got to give someone a bollocking, you can't. It's not as easy to give someone a bollocking if you're their mate, but you can give them if they've got a level of respect for you as a person, or as respecting the role, if nothing else, then you're in a better position to be able to do some of that stuff. I want to just quickly talk about this at the end, right? So we beat City, 3 points, moves us up to 6, and all the rest of it. But it's just 3 points, right? And I hate to be the prophet of doom and all the rest of it, but does it really mean anything unless we beat Fulham? Alex, what do you think? Got to beat Fulham, right? Otherwise, what's the point in winning that? What's the benefit of winning that game against City?
As I said, yes, we've got to beat Fulham. We've got to keep the momentum going. We really have. To have any ground to stand on saying, yes, we're here, we have to beat Fulham, full stop.
Mason, what's your view? Great to beat City. have a big party, all celebrate, talk about how great we are, but don't mean anything if we don't beat Fulham.
100%. I mean, it's the same as what Dean touched on earlier. If we had beat Palace, if we had beat Ipswich, we'd be second right now. So, of course, if it's all good about being the Robin Hood of the Premier League, taking from the rich, giving to the poor. But at the same time, it's very, very, very annoying that we have got the quality to go and beat these teams. But I can guarantee you, so we got Fulham at home, don't we? Do you feel more confident playing Fulham at home or City at home? I saw a thread on this morning. If when we go to City, say when City come to us, I'd say I feel more confident with us playing City because I know we're going to try and put our best game out there than us playing a Fulham and unluckily getting a loss or a draw. That's just me, as like in recent years. So if we don't beat Fulham, I do think it's for nothing. You can scratch this win off unless we go and unless City comes to us in February and we beat them, then all is good. But even then, that is more unlikely.
I think we've got to beat them. We've got to keep the momentum going. Somebody just said about consistency. If we can play well, even Thursday night, we can play well. First night, play well Sunday. It's going to be showing consistency. It's going to be showing that the team is actually clicking and the players are playing. The Ange way sort of thing. They're understanding it. If it all falls apart, it don't mean rat shit, does it? So,
Dean, sorry, Dean. Just to bring you in on that as well, because I know we're getting towards the end of time. So I just wanted to get your view on that. Fulham got beat 4-1 against Wolves. So now coming to Dr. Tottenham again in inverted commas. We don't want that, right? Consistency is the key. I'm assuming you're kind of feeling the same way.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of times it's been levelled at us, like after the Lord Mayor's show, we've done that brilliantly, and then all of a sudden, like again, oh, here we go, like Spursy. Just want to get rid of that tag, and the only way to get rid of that tag is to start sort of winning games, start getting up there, maybe win a trophy. That's going to be hard. I think that our best chance for a trophy, I think, is the Europa League. So that's the one we should go for. So hopefully, but again, if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, every day would be Christmas.
Yeah, I guess Nige made the point just there that I flashed up, right? that we've lost 3 out of 4 games on a Sunday after playing Europa on a Thursday.
Yeah,
I mean that's something we got to get over, right? And Fulham won't be a pushover. Yeah, of course, and we've had some shit results against Fulham as well. But I mean, in the overall scheme of things, Fulham technically are one of those teams that you should beat, right?
Yeah.
We're playing Roma. We're playing Roma on Thursday, but we're at home, right? We're at home on Thursday, so no long travelling or any of that nonsense. It's all like local. It'll probably make some changes and all the rest of it. So it's to appease the fans, to get people to really buy into this. Got to start putting a run together, right? Because we've also got Bournemouth to come, and before we play Chelsea, and we know what Chelsea's like. We know what happens against Chelsea. So really, really important, surely.
I mean, even last season, we lost to Fulham twice. They're no pushover. They're a good side. They're a good side. They beat us twice last season. And even I think even at home, was it 2-0 or 2-1? Either way, it was a very, not a tight game, but very, very close game in terms of the way they played. It was a more of a Fulham played out their skin that game, but we kept countering like we have been recently. It's the same thing. But going back to it, if we do not beat Fulham, this massive win for us now meant nothing.
Yeah. Okay. And I know that's all a little bit doom and gloom, I guess. David says that he doesn't think about it until 5 minutes before we play Fulham because he's too old to worry about. He's too busy enjoying the City one, which I absolutely get. I've loved the fact that we beat them. Absolutely loved it. But I'm a realist. I worry, and that's it. So up next, we're coming right up to an hour, so I don't want to keep everybody too long. But Roma up next. We've got to go around and do the score prediction, surely. Dino, what are we saying? Tottenham Roma.
Depends on Vicario for starters, but I don't know if we'd be playing him anyway. So I think we'll do all right. I think we're 3-1. If we can take what we've got forward, then 3-1, yes.
Okay. Mason, what do you think?
I'm currently looking at their most recent games, seeing if they're on a good run of form. Doesn't look like it. They lost to Elfsborg in the Europa League. They've drew with Monza. They've lost to Torino, to Verona. They drew to just recently Union Saint-Gilloise in Belgium. It doesn't look like they're on a good run. I don't think they have a manager at the moment either. But you know what happened last time that happened when a certain team didn't have a manager. But
He was in prison.
He was in prison. But it's going to be out of all of our games, I've always said Roma and Rangers are going to be our top 3 games. Always going to be Galatasaray, which obviously didn't end up too great. Roma and Rangers away. They are going to be our top 3. It's going to be a tight one. Not very confident, but I'll back the boys 2-1.
2-1. Okay. Alex, what do you think? Claudio Ranieri has gone back there, though, right, as director of football or something?
I think so.
So it might be giving them a little bit of a boost, maybe. What do you think?
I would concur with my son Mason. I think it's going to be an entertaining game. Their crowd's always lively as well, aren't they? So, it'd be a good night all round. I reckon we'll win it. We'll pull it off.
You boys all going?
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Nice.
Yeah.
Gutted.
You want to make an effort, Lee?
Oh yeah, I would. If only there wasn't this thing. If only there wasn't this thing called work that gets in the way, mate. You know.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
I'll be able to do it. Well, David reckons Spurs 4, Roma 1. Well, I'm not as confident as that, if I'm being honest. But I'm just worried about the Ranieri bounce. Is that going to make any difference or whatever? But I think there'll be changes. I think he'll rest a few. Obviously, I think Bentancur comes back because obviously he can't play in the league, so we want to keep him going. So that brings him back. Maybe gets a rest for Bissouma, maybe for the weekend. I think there'll be some youngsters in there, but like Mason says, they're not on the best of runs. So should be a win, right? We should be a win at home.
I think a certain Mickey van der Ven comes back this weekend as well. I mean, I don't want to jinx it, but I reckon he comes. Apparently, he's ready this week. But they're going to test the waters this Thursday with Roma. But I don't reckon it will start. I reckon we'll have Davies and Dragusin back, and then Fulham, I reckon we'll see a fit Mickey van der Ven back.
Yeah.
You're going to be young boys first, or then the older boys, or other way round, as we always ask.
No, I think he'll go. I think he'll go with the youth to start with, and see where it goes.
I don't think he can risk it though this time round, because last time he pulled up, we had Van der Ven and Romero ready and roaring to go. But this time we don't. I reckon it's going to be a back line of Davies and Dragusin, Gray and Porro.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree with that. Lappers reckons 2-0 to Spurs. I'm not sure. I think.
Come on, Lee.
I'm more edging towards agreeing with Dean. I think something like a 2-1. I'll be happy with that. If we can get a win, I'll be happy with that. Even a draw, I'll take it, to be honest with you, because I think we're in such a good position that we've already had 3 wins. One more win probably sees us through. I think we've got enough to beat. Is it Elfsborg and enough to beat Rangers? I think we should have enough to beat both of those. So I think a draw would be all right. It's the second toughest game, I think, out of all of them after Galatasaray. And again, I think we were unlucky against Galatasaray, to be honest with you. I think Ange messed it up. I think if he'd have gone with the strongest team, I think we could have turned them over. Or if he'd have made his subs a bit earlier, maybe. It could have been. You've got to go for one or the other. So I'm going to go for a 2-1. So we'll see where it goes. Well, listen, guys, that's an hour and 4 minutes. An hour and 4 minutes. And
weekly therapy.
Yeah, it makes me feel very, very good. And we didn't have to talk about my Cerise T-shirt too much in the end. I should be posting the photo after this, just so everyone can see.
Well, your half and half scarf as well, I suppose.
But listen, just the one thing left to say. Thanks very much for coming on, guys. I do appreciate the fact that you guys come on every week and chat Spurs with me, even though you're late most of the time, Alex. And
well, listen,
it till the
It
last
beats
minute.
talking. It beats
But it's
talking
not
to the
late.
Mrs. Lee. So
Oh, I'm glad I'm better to talk to than the missus. But anyway,
I hope she heard that. She's just come flying through the door.
Go and get your claret and blue tracksuits up on. Anyway, listen, guys, thanks very much to all you guys that have been watching. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for all your comments and your interaction. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll see. Again, I just wanted to apologise about it being on a Monday instead of a Tuesday, because Tuesday's been our regular stop. But listen, these things happen. I'm off to Dunstable tomorrow, so wish me well. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. I'll speak to you all on the next one.
In a bit.
Up the Spurs.
Up the Spurs.
Go on to Tottenham.